Okay, I'm gonna add the egg whites and beat until frothy. Hi, I'm Alexis deBoschnek, and I'm back making another recipe from a retro edition of Better Homes and Gardens cookbook. Today I'm going to make a pear cheese pie. When I think of what a pear cheese pie could be, I think of a dessert plate in France, you know, have some fruit, have a bunch of cheese. I also think of like an apple cheddar pie, you know, kind of balancing sweet and savory. So I'm really curious as to what this recipe is gonna be like. The recipe calls for egg yolks, cream cheese, sour cream. So reading this, I'm like, oh, this is cheesecake. This is basically a cheesecake. I love the addition of the pears. I think that's gonna add some really nice texture, a little bit more flavor. You know, these days I feel like using canned fruit isn't as popular, but I do remember as a kid like loving those little like fruit cups. Because the pears are canned, it means they're already pretty soft. So I'm curious how they're gonna hold up once they're baked. The recipe just says to lay the pears right in the crust, so maybe I'll kind of do it in a circular motion. I love that the graham cracker crust is already prepared. It's really easy to make, but it's kind of a fine line of making sure it's not too crumbly or not too buttery. Although if we were in the 50s, I would definitely be making this myself at home. Okay, so next I've got to separate the egg whites and yolks. My favorite way to do this is just to crack the eggs right in the bowl and then use my hands to just gently scoop the yolks right out and add them right to the bowl. Just gonna wash my hands. Okay, next the recipe says to add the cream cheese and beat until smooth. I'm actually really excited that this recipe turns out to be cheesecake. Any like cheese related thing, anything with cream cheese I think is like fantastic. Who doesn't love that? Okay, next the sour cream. It calls for dairy sour cream. Not sure what other sour cream there is, but good to know. And some lemon zest. If I'm being technical, the recipe actually calls for lemon peel, but that is lemon zest. There's also lemon juice. The best cheesecake I've ever made is from my best friend's boyfriend, and it's got a ton of dairy. It's like so much cream cheese, so many eggs, there's milk, there's sour cream, but the combination is like truly unparalleled. Okay, next up is the dry ingredients. So I'm gonna add the sugar. Flour is just gonna help it bind together. Some salt and nutmeg. Straight to the batter. Now this is really easy. I just pour this straight over the pears. This cheesecake is gonna get topped with a meringue layer so that if this cracks, which is pretty typical with cheesecakes, it won't matter at all. I wonder why they call this a pie. I mean, it does look like a pie here, but I'm like, this is cheesecake, classic cheesecake. Okay, I'm gonna pop this in the oven and then work on the meringue. Okay, my cheesecake is all done and I'm just gonna let it cool down while I make the meringue. Okay, I'm gonna add the egg whites straight to the mixer. I'm also gonna add a little cream of tartar, which is gonna help stabilize it. And beat until frothy. The egg whites look perfect, so I'm gonna slowly add the sugar. The reason that you add the sugar slowly is so that it can fully incorporate into the meringue and the sugar crystals won't kind of deflate it. Ooh, okay, there we go. Really fun way to test if the meringue is stiff enough is just to hold it upside down. Even hold it over your head. We're good to go. I've actually never had a cheesecake with meringue on top. I think that's true. I've put like a sour cream topper on, but never meringue. The recipe calls for spreading the meringue all over the filling to the edges. So let's see how that looks. And now I bake this for 10 more minutes until golden brown. I think the pear cheese pie looks so lovely. It looks really beautiful. It's definitely different than other cheesecakes I've made, which are usually a bit taller, a bit heftier. This feels really light and delicate. Ooh. Cuts very easily, it's always good. So sweet. Wow, the meringue looks perfect. Wow, this is so unexpected. I really was envisioning this to be like what we would think of as cheesecake, but it's actually really light and airy. I love the contrast of the meringue on top, and the pears totally held up. I was worried that they might get a little too overcooked because they were already so soft, but the texture is really nice against the creaminess of the filling. I think this is fantastic. I would totally make this pear and cheese pie again, but when I was looking on the website of Better Homes and Gardens, I thought of what the title of the pear cheese tart sounded like. I thought we could make a pear and cheese tumble, which combines mascarpone with granola. There's some whipped cream. You've got the creaminess and the crunchiness, which I thought would totally play into this. Or a deep dish pear pie. It's got a rosemary cheddar crust and definitely plays into that idea of like an apple cheddar pie. It's a little bit different than this, but still incorporates that cheesy factor. I do have to say though, I think this is a winner. Let me know in the comments which dessert sounds best to you and if you would make this at home.